What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Two fronts were formed on the battlefield. Powerful forces collided, forming a force field. Gabiru stood by and watched the battle. Benimaru's orders were being followed by the reinforcements. There was nothing to be concerned about. They, like the Kurenai and Hiryu, were led by Dolph, the leader of the Pegasus Knights. Benimaru delivered proper directions at important stages, but he determined that comprehensive instructions should be left to individuals who were in the region. Gabiru agreed with this decision. He imagined Benimaru engaging the enemy leaders in the same way that he was. And the decision appeared to be correct. The Empire's Magic Beast Corps had members with strong individual combat power, but their collective movement was poor. As a result, despite being outnumbered, the Allied forces were able to keep up the front line through skilled cooperation. But there was no denying they were outnumbered. The reinforcements were greatly appreciated, and a counterattack was about to begin.
Well, it appears that things are going nicely. Soka appears to have returned safely to heal, and it is up to me to do my best.
So you believe you can afford to turn a blind eye when dealing with me?
A severe spear blow was delivered to Gabiru, who had his gaze fixated on the battlefield. His opponent was Baraga. Gladium had gone with Carrion, but the war with Baraga remained.
We can't merely deal with you because we have orders from the commander-in-chief.
I'm really being underestimated.
You're the ones who think we're fools, aren't you? I might not have lived if Gladium had been serious from the start.
You would never be taken seriously by the Great Beast King.
Gabiru shook his head in surprise when he heard this.
That's just carelessness. As the saying goes, a lion does his best to catch a rabbit. Isn't it common courtesy to try your best, no matter who you're up against, in this world of the powerful and the weak?
Gabiru reacted proudly. As he said this, Gabiru couldn't help but think of his comrades. It immediately occurred to him that there were those who did not always give their utmost against their opponents. Diablo was the first of these. Gabiru had challenged him to a mock battle on occasion, but he had been beaten down in a fairly pitiful manner.
Isn't that guy an exception? But I can't complain because if he got serious, it would be over in a second. Despite the fact that we are in the same situation, Diablo and I are very different. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
Rimuru had acknowledged him and appointed him as one of the 12 Guardian Lords. Gabiru was proud of this, but more importantly, he had become more aware of his own position. He recognized the strength of Diablo and the others after awakening and becoming stronger. Even the 3 demon girls who were not allowed to evolve during the victory party were far more powerful than Gabiru. If that's the case, Diablo, who was more powerful than them and had evolved, was a monster beyond Gabiru's wildest dreams. He couldn't win even if they battled. He recognized that this was unavoidable, but if he gave up, it would be the end of the world. It didn't matter if he couldn't win right now as long as he kept seeking it without giving up. Gabiru believed this and thus remained ambitious. Gabiru understood what true strength was exactly because of this. Although it was only instinct, he realized that the strongest were not Gladium or Baraga.
That's why I will never be defeated.
You moron. It's already clear that you're going to lose. Know that you owe me a debt of thanks for letting you die before you could see the pit of hell that lies ahead.
Baraga's attacks became more ferocious. With a parry, Gabiru swept them aside.
Are you referring to the transformation of your soldiers? I'd like to know what they've done.
Baraga's movement slowed as soon as Gabiru pointed this out. He then looked at Gabiru as though he was upset.
Did you notice?
Of course. After all, we have a very capable commander.
However, it's already too late. The command has been issued. You have no choice but to die in despair.
Baraga provided proof to back up his claim. It was Gozarin who had totally recovered.
That is an impressive recovery, but isn't that the kind of skill a strong opponent should have?
He had observed that Gozarin was fine, so it wasn't surprising, Gabiru reasoned. But Baraga smiled boldly.
No, it's not Gozarin, but those around her.
Gabiru felt a shiver run down his spine. It was the body of a fallen Imperial soldier. He couldn't understand Baraga's motives when he gleefully mentioned the deaths of his comrades. No, before that.
By the way, when did those folks die?
He hadn't paid notice because there were so many, but the number of dead was astounding. A closer inspection indicated that several of them had deserted the front lines and were making their way to the ground. Looking around, he noticed that some of them were coughing up blood and falling on the spot.
What?
Did you not notice?
It can't be. They died by themselves.
Exactly. Sir Gladium had made his decision. We have now entered a period of intense experimentation.
With that, Baraga burst out laughing. His wild laughter boomed over the battlefield, freezing the hearts of everyone who heard it. Gabble was equally astounded by what he witnessed. Something awful was going on. He was well aware of it. Gladium, the Beast King, had issued an order. It was a top-secret directive.
Listen up, everyone. His Majesty the Emperor is in danger, according to Zamdo. Furthermore, the adversary is claimed to have called a vast number of demonic demons. Their strength is unknown, but it is expected to be greater than yours. If current trends continue, significant damage is to be predicted. As a result, I've decided to use our last resort against them. Offer your bravery and loyalty. Activate the trump card I gave you, and you will be able to beat the demons.
He immediately relayed the command to the soldiers after issuing it to the 3 generals. As a trump card for reinforcements, the medicine to be administered was supplied in the shape of pills. However, there were restrictions on their use, and they could only be employed with Gladium's, the corps commander's, permission. Gladium had lifted the prohibition with a secret order.
Humph. If they succeed, they will amass enormous power. Furthermore, the adverse effects may affect only a small number of people. If people wish to despise me, they should despise themselves for their inability to adapt.
Gladium's actual feelings were revealed. Gladium was fundamentally a self-centered individual. Gladium casually commanded his army members to die. His decision was brutal, but it was also true that the demons might easily overpower his army if this continued. Forcing them to seek power at the risk of death was a sensible option. The instruction was immediately carried out by the members of the group. They acted without hesitation because they had not been notified of the contents of the instruction. In other words, the illegal medical skill, the beast, was triggered by the soldiers' will, despite their lack of knowledge. The effect progressively ate away at the Magic Beast Corps troops' bodies. Because they were in the midst of battle, the changes were initially overlooked. However, as time went on, the results became clearer. The ground was littered with the bodies of the dead. These were the bodies Gabble noticed. Several individuals went on a rampage against the enemy lines. The Kurenai, Hiryu, Beastmaster's Warrior Alliance, and Tenshoshu were forced to fight them. There were also individuals who were perplexed by their own transformations in the midst of the battlefield. These were the actual soldiers Gladium sought. 10,000 dead. About 5,500 people were transformed into magic beasts. 5,000 people transformed into magic beasts and went insane. 5,000 people who went insane in a mixed human magic beast form. 4,000 people who were able to control the beast. 400 people who awoke as Chimera Knights. The chances of success or failure were fixed and had come near to the projections. Given the tiny size of the experiment's population, it would not have been shocking if the outcomes had been even worse. The outcome was a significant decrease in the size of the Magic Beast Corps, which had 30,000 members. However, the Corps' strength was substantially expanded. Those that went insane would be defeated quickly. They were handy as a decoy, but there was no turning back once it was done. As a result, Gladium was willing to abandon them without a single regret. Only 10,000, or half of those who survived, were able to battle with reason. This, though, was a little more than Gladium had anticipated. More than half of them would never be able to return to human form, but they were a vital asset for the time being. Gladium was pleased with the outcome. In addition, 400 Chimera Knights had been born. They would not be defeated, no matter who their opponents were. Gladium satisfyingly nodded his head, but it was still premature to relax. This took some time, but they still needed to regroup their forces. Gladium would have liked to take the lead, but Carrion stood in his way. In that event, he could rely on his 3 generals. Azure Dragon, Baraga was battling Gabble. Vermilion Bird, Nazim was fighting Frey in a tough combat. Black Tortoise, Gozarin was the only one who remained.
Gozarin, gather your men as soon as possible.
Got it. We appear to have accomplished more than we anticipated. I'm quite happy.
I'll leave it to you.
He gave the order using telepathy. While the 10,000 berserkers were on the loose, it was necessary to reorganize the forces. Gladium was relieved to learn that Gozarin was safe. Gladium, the self-centered, trusted those he approved of.
Hey, when dealing with me, can you really afford to turn away?
Of course. I'm the commander of the Legion. I'm not some untamed beast.
You call yourself a Legion commander while slaughtering your own men? You are hilarious.
That's what war is all about, fool. You're just not good if you can't make that kind of decision. A newcomer appears to have ousted you as Demon Lord, but I pity those who worship someone so powerless.
Shut up.
Carrion sliced at him in rage, but his assault had a note of impatience to it. Gladium had become far stronger than he had anticipated.
Wait a minute, that strike was feeble. It felt as if you were standing motionless.
Gladium approached Carrion from behind, saying softly. His right hand was armed with a massive claw. The white tiger, Byako, claw gleamed with a silvery white brilliance. This claw, which held the names of 2 of the Beastketeers, was a rare weapon that had evolved into mythical grade and had been loaned to Gladium by the Emperor. A mythical level weapon could sever any opponent. It was a weapon that could slay spiritual living forms, and it was a perfect match for Gladium's godlike speed. Gladium teased Carrion with his well-practiced footwork. Even Carrion's legendary grade armor proved useless against the white tiger claw.
What's the matter? You claimed that you were going to kill me, but was that just a bluff?
Shut up. I believed it would be easier to kill you, but it appears that my calculations were incorrect.
Milam's training has made Carrion stronger. That is why he was able to fight while being severely wounded. Gladium was even more taken aback by this. The difference in weapon performance was closely proportional to the fight power gap. Gladium had expected the war to be over sooner. In this regard, they were comparable. Their strengths were likewise comparable, with Carrion having the upper hand in terms of strength and Gladium having the upper hand in terms of armament. Gladium had the upper hand overall. Gladium went quickly to finish Carrion off after plainly understanding this. But then something happened that Gladium could never have predicted.
What? The power is rising?
It was an indication of evolution. For a demon lord, it marked the start of the harvest festival. However, Gladium's awakening under these conditions was nothing more than a hindrance.
What is this drowsiness?
Gladium shook unsteadily. Carrion took advantage of the situation and avoided his predicament, restoring his position.
What's wrong? Are you tired already?
While attempting to agitate Gladium, Carrion noticed him. Something was going on. Was this anything bad or something good? Gladium's power was increasing, as everybody could see. This was due to magicules congregating and a large amount of Yuki erupting from him. Gladium, on the other hand, was stumbling around, scarcely able to stand.
What exactly is going on? Is this guy actually awakening?
A story Carrion had lately heard came to mind. An evolutionary rite was performed at Rimuru victory party. Some of the executives were said to have fled the party after being lulled into an alluring slumber.
Wasn't it claimed that you needed to sleep to become a true demon lord? If that's the case, isn't this the exact moment?
Carrion was not a moron, but he was also not the most insightful. This time, though, he was able to demonstrate great insight, as if his life was on the line.
According to Fry's theory, souls are required for evolution. Oh, Gladium's servants are dying everywhere.
Episode 20 of Solo Leveling is out. Yu Jinho is exposed as his father confronts him over his guildmaster plan. Will his ambitions survive the clash? Don't miss the intense showdown. Watch now.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to the new members of AnimeKouhai supporters: Bismarck Munoz, Arayan Booker, Kamal Luke, Izat, Mr. Santo, Akshay Divate, M, Wei Jun, Elvin Quarty, Stone Larone. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.